New this morning, one of the teens charged with intentionally setting fire to a home in Green Valley Ranch will be in court this morning. 5 members of a family died in that fire. 9 News reporter John Glasgow is live outside the Denver County Courthouse for us this morning. And John, he's now facing new drug-related charges from when he was detained.
Yeah, that's right. Kevin Bowe is facing a drug charge here this morning. This is not related to the death of the 5 members of the Joel family. While Bowe was in custody, prosecutors say that he was caught with suspected fentanyl while he was in jail. So these charges stem from his last court appearance, which was in July. Court records show that Bowe was arrested at the Denver Detention Center back in June after deputies responded to an overdose in an 8-person cell. The deputies searched Bowe, and court documents show that they found baggies with multiple blue pills in his sock and in his pants. That led to the new charges that he faces in court today. Now, Bowe is one of 3 teens that is charged with the 5 members of that Senegalese family that were killed. According to court testimony, Bowe and the 2 others targeted and intentionally set fire to the Joel house. The testimony said that they were seeking revenge for a stolen cell phone, but they had the wrong address, and the Joel family was not their intended target. Now, Bowe, he was 16 at the time of the fire. However, he is charged as an adult in that case. This morning is an arraignment hearing where Bowe could put forward a plea in this case here today. The judge will then move forward after that. This arraignment hearing is going to start at 8:30 this morning. We will keep you updated on anything that comes about here today. Corey?
Yeah, the bigger part of this is just so sad, that story about the Joel family, but we'll see what happens today in court. John, thank you.
And right now, there's an investigation into how a fire that destroyed 3 homes in Aurora started yesterday. It happened in a neighborhood on East Whitaker Drive near Quincy Reservoir. Firefighters say no one was hurt.
And right now, police are investigating Denver's 4th deadly hit and run in 11 days. This one happened about 6:45 last night on I-25 northbound near Downing. Police say several drivers hit a man who was walking on the highway. He was killed. Some of the drivers stayed, but police say one of them took off. Police have not shared any details about that driver or his vehicle.
Cell phone companies are making changes to make sure when people call 911 in Denver, they're connected to help in Denver. Neighbors have been telling police about the issues after a community leader in the Colfax neighborhood died from a stray bullet. This week, neighbors met with police and 911 officials in the basement of the building Ma King called home. She died after being hit by a stray bullet from New Freedom Park back on July 15th. Neighbors say some of their 911 calls for help went to Aurora dispatchers. They had to wait to be transferred to Denver. Dispatch records show it took a little more than 5 minutes for help to arrive.
My mother got shot in the head and she is bleeding. They shouldn't have said this is the wrong department.
Denver 911 says 4 calls went to the wrong dispatch that night. They were all from Verizon and T-Mobile phones. Denver 911 says a Verizon tower was programmed wrong, sending at least 1 call to Aurora. Verizon is checking its other cell towers near Denver's border to make sure they won't make the same error. T-Mobile is changing how it routes 911 calls, basing it on a phone's GPS instead of the location of the cell tower. AT&T started making that switch back in May. Some people in East Colfax also say people have been hung up on or ignored by dispatchers who don't understand them because of a language barrier. The 911 director says he's looking into that as well.
In Colorado, people who live here come from a lot of different places, and that's why it's normal to see people with out-of-state area codes for their phones. It is an issue, though, with the new 988 number, which is 911 for mental health help. It routes people to local help based on their area code. So Coloradans are getting routed to out-of-state during a crisis. Anusha Roy looks at this new concern.
The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
It's been set up that way since 2004.
That's how long this specific helpline, now known as 988, has routed people to help based off area code.
Try to meet the caller where they're at.
Eric Jacobson, a crisis specialist based here in Colorado, has helped people with Colorado area codes but don't live here.
A lot of people call Lifeline and a lot of people call 988. They aren't looking for kind of on-the-ground support. They just want someone to talk to. And we can do that.
But if that person needs to be connected with longer-term help, it's harder because the folks in Colorado don't have those connections and resources readily available in other states.
We're looking to kind of connect with somebody on the ground, I'm probably not the best person to talk to. However, I would love to try to connect you with a crisis call center in your state.
The scenario is only expected to increase as more people use 988, which is why some people are asking why not use similar technology as 911, relying on cell towers or GPS data to connect to local help. It's been discussed for years.
The funding wasn't available for this capacity, but also that I don't think it was widely understood.
AKA, it wasn't a top priority. Bev Marquez, the CEO of Rocky Mountain Crisis Partners, says that could be changing.
Making the decision to turn it on is where, is the time that it's taking.
While there are benefits to using this technology, like connecting to local help and emergency resources and call centers predicting their volume, others are worried about privacy.
Somewhat substantial chunk of our callers want to remain anonymous.
And the function of 988 and 911 in many ways are different.
Somebody calls 911. The intention is to have somebody come to you. 988, we are trying to implement what's called the least restrictive intervention.
For Next, I'm Anusha Roy.
And this is an FCC decision. They acknowledge they need to improve it. The FCC says it's exploring options but did not give specifics. If you text 988, if you text it, you will enter your zip code and get connected locally. The same goes for if you text Colorado Crisis Services.
This week, Congress heard about how Colorado's elections workers are being threatened by conspiracy theorists. The Senate Judiciary Committee held a hearing yesterday on the danger to election workers across the country. They heard from Matt Crane, director of Colorado's County Clerks Association. Crane says a survey of county clerks' offices in Colorado found a quarter of them increased security in some way, like securing entrances or adding tinted bulletproof glass. Crane pointed out the conspiracy theorists are targeting their own neighbors.
It's our church members, it's our Elks Lodge members, it's the PTA. These are the people that are actually conducting the elections. People are trying to get the information, the names and addresses and telephone numbers of these citizen election workers so that they can put pressure on them, intimidate them. And it has had a chilling effect on their willingness to participate. We're here in large part because of failure of leadership. If people would just stand up and tell the truth on both sides of the aisle, we'd be much better off.
Democratic Senator Dick Durbin from Illinois says one county clerk in Colorado has started wearing a bulletproof vest to work.
Tina Peters' $250,000 recount is still going strong. Colorado's most populous county and largest source of GOP votes, El Paso, just finished recounting the Republican Secretary of State primary. Peters has to make up an 88,000 vote gap. In El Paso County, Peters gained 1 vote. Her opponents each gained 2.
And one thing you want to know about the weather today, we'll have partly sunny skies, maybe an isolated storm, temperatures in the 90s. Tomorrow, a few degrees warmer, and we'll see those isolated storms as well.